Never mind the best and worst VPNs, never mind which ones you can trust, never mind the cheapest. What we're discussing here right now is a much more fundamental question. Are VPNs generally even worth it? And that's a great question to ask. So many people hear bits and pieces about the latest hot new thing and go out and splurge on the best of the best without ever even questioning if they actually even need it. It doesn't just happen with VPNs. As someone with way too many stupid hobbies, I'm just as guilty of it myself. That's why in this video, I'm going to give you my opinion on the ups and downs of using a VPN, talk a little about the price, and hopefully by the end we'll have worked out whether or not a VPN is worth it for you specifically. Intro over, my name is Callum, and you're watching Top 10 VPN. Let's get started. Broadly speaking, I think that there are 5 big upsides to using a VPN. I also don't think that all 5 need to actually apply to you to make paying for a VPN worth it. Even just one of them, if the VPN can do it really well, could be enough. These 5 things are: 1. Unblocking streaming content. 2. Staying safe on public Wi-Fi networks. 3. Traveling to or living within a country with heavy internet censorship. 4. Preventing your ISP from seeing everything you do. And 5. Safely downloading torrent files. I also think that there are 4 big factors that could potentially make a VPN not worth it for you, but we'll get to those later. Or I guess you can skip ahead if you're on the pessimistic side of things anyway. Right now, let's take a brief look at each of those upsides. Number 1. Unblocking streaming content. I have written thousands and thousands of words and published dozens of videos on all the various ways that you can combine a VPN and streaming. And there is a very obvious and very good reason for that. VPNs are the best way to get yourself access to more streaming content. If you are unaware, some services like Netflix have a huge selection of content, but they'll limit who can see what depending on the country that the viewer is in. And by using a VPN, you digitally change your region and then get access to more shows and movies. This can also work to access services that simply aren't available in your region at all, too. And what's more, you can often change your region to a cheaper one when signing up so that your subscription costs less. Quite simply, there's no other solution, software, or hack that can do all of this to the standard that a good VPN does. Number 2. Staying safe on public Wi-Fi. Public Wi-Fi is dangerous. It's as simple as that. I'm not being sensationalist, and it's not clickbait. I mean, you're already watching the video, I have no reason to lie to you. Public Wi-Fi is extremely insecure, and there could be hundreds or even thousands of people connected to the same hotspot as you at any time. And think about just how often you use it. When you're on the train, or in an airport, or staying at a hotel, or in a cafe, it might be more than you think. And while they're safer than they used to be, these hotspots are still prime targets for hackers who can scrape all manner of private data from you while you're connected. Even if you aren't worried about hackers, the establishment that owns and operates the hotspot can see everything that you're doing. If you're a carefree risk taker, then that's fine, I suppose, but personally, I use my VPN every day on my commute and whenever I need Wi-Fi when I'm out shopping. It encrypts my connection and anonymizes me to anyone who might be snooping. Also, you don't need to be a VPN expert to capitalize on this. It's what they're made for, so it only takes a couple of taps. Number 3. Bypassing web censorship. It's a sad truth that the majority of people living on Earth right now do so under a less than free or outright censored internet. It's something I always like to mention when doing these videos because for people like myself, and hopefully you too, VPNs are a useful tool but not an essential one. But there are billions who aren't so lucky. Using a VPN is usually the best solution for people living with a censored internet. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be visiting one of those countries and will need help too. I'm not just talking about the big names you might have heard of like Russia or China either. South Korea, Brazil, Mexico, Egypt. These are all massive tourist destinations that have a less than free internet, and they aren't the only ones. Make sure you check before you go on your next holiday. A VPN might be a necessity. Number 4. Hiding activity from your ISP. It's not just public Wi-Fi hotspots or even your own government that can spy on you. It's your ISP too. In fact, it's guaranteed. Your internet service provider, to some degree, will be monitoring and logging your activity. It's kind of just how they operate. Using a VPN is just about the only way to stop this. Because a VPN encrypts your data before it ever leaves your device, that means that the ISP of whatever connection you're using can't see the websites you visit or the apps that you use. This is another thing that plenty of people don't care that much about, and maybe you're one of them. But if you do care at all about your right online privacy, then a VPN is one of the simplest and most effective ways to reclaim some of it. Number 5. Safely downloading torrent files. The final big reason I think a VPN is worth it is a little more niche, but if it applies to you, then it's hugely important. When you download torrents, whatever they may be, your IP address is directly visible to everyone else seeding or leeching that file. Seriously, it's a built-in feature, basically, of every torrent client. Take a look at any files you have downloading right now if you're a torrenter. Have you ever wondered what all those different IP addresses are with the little flags next to them? Those are all the other torrenters. VPNs spoof your IP address, meaning that they sort of substitute it with one that belongs to their server that you connected to. And this is the key to basically everything that they can do, and it's also how it keeps you private while torrenting. With a VPN on, all the other torrenters will see is your VPN's IP address, not yours. Like I said, if any, some of, or all of those points sound good to you, then I think a VPN is something you could definitely benefit from. But before you take the plunge, or if you're still on the fence, then I think what's equally important to be aware of are 4 big reasons not to get a VPN. Let's take a look. Number 1. VPNs cannot give you complete online privacy. I was very careful with my wording earlier when I said that VPNs can help you reclaim some of your online privacy, and that is because total online privacy is nearly impossible. Ultimately, someone has to handle your internet connection, someone has to manufacture your smartphone, and most importantly, someone has to run the VPN. When you use a VPN, you're entrusting it with all of the information that you're taking out of the hands of your ISP. We do a great deal of research to make sure that the VPN companies we recommend are worthy of your trust, but I do understand completely if you'd still rather not trust one at all. Number 2, VPNs do not give you complete security. I think there's so much sensationalism around VPNs and what they can do that people often get the wrong idea. A VPN is not an all-in-one security tool. It's not an antivirus or firewall, and while some of them have ad blockers built in, none of them are as effective as a standalone one. A VPN can't help if you're tricked by a phishing scam, and it won't stop you from downloading malware. If a total security solution is what you're after, then a VPN definitely plays a key part, but it can't do it all. Number 3. VPNs will slow down your internet. I know this one sounds bad, and it can be. A VPN on a fundamental technical level has to slow down your internet. By relaying your traffic through an extra server, even if that server is in the same country as you, it's adding extra distance to how far your traffic has to travel, and ping increases too. The good news is that we've tested VPNs that can have a super minimal impact on your speeds. Let's be honest, if your connection is normally 100 megabits per second and the VPN lowers it to 97 megabits per second, are you really going to notice? I doubt it. Just know that VPNs that are capable of that are rare. A bad VPN connecting to a server really far away from where you are can slow things to a crawl, and I mean really kneecapping it. Speed drops of 80, 90+% even. Like I said, it's unavoidable to an extent, and if every bit of speed is vital to you, then you might be disappointed. Number 4. The internet is becoming increasingly hostile towards VPNs. Something I've observed in my years as a VPN professional is that websites and services and the internet as a whole is definitely growing more hostile towards VPNs, which corresponds with their popularity. I'm not just talking about Netflix trying to stop you from changing regions either. With a VPN connected, you'll see more captures in Google. You might see some websites deny you access. Some services or games will ask you to disconnect before logging in. You can't even edit Wikipedia if you have a VPN on. And it's definitely important to recognize that VPNs have something of an image problem, and that many people and corporations view them as sort of sneaky, like you're trying to bend or break the rules when you use one. And it may not be entirely fair, but that's the way things feel right now, and I have no idea what direction they'll trend in the future. It's nothing ruinous, and 99.9% of the time, your browsing experience will be identical to not using a VPN. I genuinely forget that mine is on, connected most of the time. But in the rare instances where those issues arise, it is a minor inconvenience. Finally, a little point on price. After all, we're talking about whether or not VPNs are worth it here, so unless you're talking about effort, you're probably wondering whether or not you should spend the money. This is always a tough one. On top10vpn.com, we don't factor a VPN's price into its overall rating, as it's not something that affects the overall quality of the product. And what's cheap to one person can be a lot of money to another. So, here's the deal. VPNs operate on subscription plans. You can usually opt for a 1-month plan, or a plan that's 6 months, a year, 2 years, or even 3 years long. And by choosing one of those, you'll usually get a better price. I want to highlight that this price, while cheaper per month, will be claimed entirely upfront. So say you find a VPN that's $2 per month on a 1-year plan. It will actually cost you $24 in one payment, and then you have it for a full year. We go into all of this in a lot more detail and nuance in our dedicated video, How Much Do VPNs Cost, if you want to learn more. The short of it is that the average VPN will cost you between $2 and $5 a month if you're paying for a long-term plan upfront. If you're in the Anglosphere, then that's really affordable, I think. If you're in a developing or poorer nation with lower average wages, then you might consider it expensive. It's not my place to say. There are free VPNs, of course, but with very few exceptions, they're actually the ones that aren't worth it. It sounds weird because they cost no money, but they will often end up costing you in other ways. They may sell your data, sell your bandwidth, or simply be outright dangerous cons. Believe me, I get the temptation, but I really don't think they're worth the risk. There's so much more to know and consider, but I've done my best here not to bore you to death and just give you the top-level insights on what I think is the most important before you make your VPN buying decision. Be sure to check out top10vpn.com for full written reviews of all the most popular VPNs performed by a real, professional VPN testing team, as well as specific recommendations for whatever it is that you're looking to use one for. If you'd care to like this video or subscribe to the channel, then that would be huge, as it's your support that makes this content possible. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.